Good morning, everyone. Mem Vav Amid Aleph, second line. Chutz min hadam. So the Gemara says, the Mishnah says that dam, there's no pigol, no nosar, there's no issue for eating it while you're tameh, but there's still an issue, obviously, of eating dam. You're just not going to be chayav for these additional things. Says the Gemara, minahani mili, and now we're going to give an additional thing. Besides for no pigol, no nosar, no problem eating it while you're tameh, dam is also not subject to me'ilah, if you use it for personal purposes. Minani mili amar ula amar kra va'ani nasativ lachem shalachem yehei. I gave it to you. It should be yours. It's not subject to me'ilah. The Rabbi Shmuel Tana, they have three different opinions and three different psukim to say that dam is not subject to me'ilah. We're going to ask on the bottom why we need three psukim. The Rabbi Shmuel Tana amar kra lechaper. The dam is lechaper. Lekapara nisativ velo leme'ilah. It was given for kapara, and it wasn't given for me'ilah. That means that when you throw it on the mizbeach, it gives you an atonement, but you can't get me'ilah for using it for personal purposes. Rabbi Yochanan amar krahu lifnei kapara kila achar kapara. It's the same before kapara like it is after kapara. What happens after kapara? Ma achar kapara ein bo me'ilah, af lifnei kapara ein bo me'ilah. Just like after kapara there's no me'ilah, so too even before you apply it, there's not going to be any me'ilah. Why is there no me'ilah after kapara? Because there's a rule that after something has been used for a mitzvah, it's no longer in the category of me'ilah. Once it's been used for the zrika on the mizbeach, there's no longer in the category of me'ilah. Therefore, just like after you apply it on the mizbeach, it's not in the category of me'ilah. Even before you apply it on the mizbeach, it won't be in the category of me'ilah either, based on this pasuk. Says the Gemara, very nice svara. But ema la'achar kapara kilifnei kapara. Ma lifnei kapara yesh bo mila, af la'achar kapara yesh bo mila. Why are you comparing after kapara to, or from before kapara to after kapara? Maybe do it the opposite. Compare after kapara to before kapara and say, just like before kapara there will be me'ilah like everything else, so to after kapara there'll be me'ilah too. Says the Gemara, can't say that. Why? Ein l'cha davar shenaseis mitzvaso mo'alim bo. Because there's no such thing where when you do the mitzvah with it, now you could still be over me'ilah. It means at the end of the day, personal purposes, before the mitzvah is done, aser. After the mitzvah is done, just again, to make it simplified, before you finish with the lulav and esrog, you use it, that's me'ilah. Not, but just as an example. After Sukkot is over, you can't be mo'al anymore. There's no such thing as me'ilah on the lulav and esrog, as an example. So over here as well, before you apply the dam on the mizbeach, you use it for personal purposes, there's me'ilah. After you apply the dam, there's no me'ilah. And there's no such thing as saying, oh, maybe it should be like before, and you should say the opposite. No. There's no such thing that after the mitzvah is done, you could still be over me'ilah. Says Gemara, really? V'lo? V'harei trumas hadeshen. We know that when they clean off the ashes from the mizbeach, what do they do with those ashes? They what?
Next morning.
They bury them. After they clear off the ashes, after they take off the ashes, they bury them. So
it's pretty Geniza.
It's like Geniza. So what happens? So between when they take off the ashes, when they've already been, I guess, used for the mitzvah, when they take off the ashes and the time that they bury it, I guess burial is not considered to be part of the mitzvah, but if you get hana from the ashes between the removal from the mizbeach and the burial, it's considered to be me'ilah, even though after the mitzvah of removal has been performed. So there's a mitzvah to remove the ashes. What do you do with them? You put them into Geniza. You bury them.
Rashi said on the side of the mizrach of the kevesh.
And then maybe afterwards, or maybe they bury it on the side of the mizbeach.
It's only a small amount.
It's swallowed.
It's buried into the side of the mizbeach. But the point is that, right? But the
rest of it they take out.
The point is that when you pull it off, you're doing the mitzvah of removing the ashes. So you would think at that point there would be no me'ilah. So you clearly see the fact that there's still me'ilah at that point, then it's going to be a problem. Says the Gemara, you just told me that there's no me'ilah after the mitzvah is done. We have a rule that if it would just be that Trumas Hadeshen, it tells me after the mitzvah is done, so now there's still me'ilah, then I would learn from there to all other cases, and I would say every case after the mitzvah is done, there could still be me'ilah. But we have a rule that when it's Shnei Ksuvin, when you tell me the same rule twice, if you tell me by two different cases that after the mitzvah is done, there could still be me'ilah, then we know that it's specifically those two cases where after the mitzvah is done, there could still be me'ilah. If you just tell me in one case, and I assume that that's the rule everywhere, and therefore l'maisa, that makes sense in life. You tell me one case, I assume that's the rule everywhere, you just told it to me in that one case, but it meant for all the cases. But if you tell it to me in two specific cases, then I assume shnei ksuvim l'bach echad ein melamdin. You don't learn to everything else, and if you don't learn to anything else, therefore only these two cases of Trumas Hadeshin and Big Day Kahuna, which we'll see in a second. What's Big Day Kahuna? Big Day Kahuna is after the Kohen Gadol wears the 4 garments, the white garments on Yom Kippur, so they're gone. They can't be used again. So now they've been used for a mitzvah. If you use them, it's me'ilah. But it's only those two cases. Any other case, we assume that it can't be learned, and that every other case, after you use it for the mitzvah, there will not be me'ilah.
What about the leftover shaman? It's also me'ilah.
Is it me'ilah? Doesn't sound like it. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it.
Leftover shemen from where?
Doesn't sound like it. Doesn't sound like it would be me'ilah. The leftover shemen, what, in the actual cups? I'm not sure. Then it doesn't sound like it'd be over me'ilah. Maybe it's also about now, but it doesn't sound like it'd be over me'ilah. Says these are the only two examples. Says the Gemara, Nichal Rabbanan Damri ve'nicham sham milame shetun ingzir. This is all fine, according to the Rabbanan, who say that the pasuk says ve'nicham sham, which means that the clothing of the Kohen Gadol gets buried because it can no longer be used again. But if you show me that it can actually be used, if there's an opinion that it could be used, then you're back to square one and what? Now you only have Trumas Hadeshin. If you only have Trumas Hadeshin, then you only have one. If you have one, you can learn to everything else. Says in Gemara, Rabbi Dosa Damar Mutaros Hein Lekohen Hedyot Uvavach Leishtamsh on the Liyom HaKippurim Acher Ma'ikal Lemeimar. According to him, you don't bury them. And actually, a regular, he could give it to his friend, the Kohen Hedyot. He could even wear them. He just can't wear them on another Yom Kippur. He can bring them home. He wants to clean whatever he wants to do with them. He can wear them. But you see, it's not usher afterwards. So at the end of the day, that's why there's still me'ilah maybe. But at the end of the day, if you have a thing, once the mitzvah is done, the mitzvah is done with it, so there will be no more me'ilah, except for the case of Trumas Hadeshin. But if you only have one case now, so then what? You should learn to everything else. Learn to everything else that there will be me'ilah. Again, if you say that it's buried, so if you say that the stuff is buried, the Big Day Kahuna, and therefore what? If you say that it's buried, so it's buried, you can't get any, because you're saying that it's me'ilah if you use it. That's why you have to bury it. So therefore there's me'ilah by the Big Day Kahuna, the me'ilah by the Trumas Hadeshin, you don't learn to anything else. But if you say that the Big Day Kahuna are not buried, which says that there is no me'ilah by it, and the only case you have where there's me'ilah is by Trumas Hadeshin. Not to say that specifically there's no me'ilah, but he's saying it doesn't say by Big Day Kahuna that there's me'ilah after the mitzvah. Now you only have one case where you see that there's me'ilah after the mitzvah, and seemingly you would apply that to every other case.
So there'd be me'ilah by dam.
And there would be me'ilah by dam also. We're trying to prove that there's no me'ilah by dam. So how are we going to prove if we only have one case, i.e. Trumas Hadeshin, where you have the mitzvah and there's me'ilah, then every single case after you do the mitzvah there should be me'ilah. Says the Gemara, no. Good try. There's another case. There's another case where there's egla rufa. It's always interesting because if you think about it, they should have been honest with you. There's really 3 in the beginning. And they should have just saved it. They should have said it's not 2, it's 3. But okay, the Gemara is smarter than us, so they wait. It's a process. Because if it would have said 3, you wouldn't remember all 3. Now you're going to remember that there's another case called egla rufa. What's the egla rufa? What does that mean? We know that when the bull gets its neck broken, so what it's telling you now is that if you take that bull, if you take it and you use it, it's going to be me'ilah. So you have another case of me'ilah as well. You have 2 cases now, Trumas Hadeshin and the bull, and therefore it will be only those 2 cases. Okay, now you caught me, but now I'll tell you that there's actually a man who says that you can be melamed from 2. So now you got 2 cases, and even when you have 2 cases, you can still learn to everything else. Says the Gemara, Trey miyute ksive. You're right. Even when you have 2 cases, you can learn to other things. But again, just to explain it simply, if it would just say in the psukim over here, if you use the egla rufa after the mitzvah, it's me'ilah. If you use Trumas Hadeshin after you remove it, it's me'ilah. Then that would be shnei ksuvim abayim ke'echad, melamd, and you learn to everything else. But besides for saying that in the psukim, there's also 2 specific miyutim in the psukim to say specifically this case and no other case. So specifically these 2 cases. Hacha ksiv ha'arufa, when it's chazering, in the psukim, it mentions that after the neck has been broken, it says the egla ha'arufa. What do you have to tell me again that it's the egla that was broken? You already know this is the egla that has the neck broken. The extra word ha'arufa is specifically this egla, specifically this case is where it's going to be a problem. No other case. Visamo, you place it specifically and nothing else. The halach applies to it and nothing else. So that's the case of, that's how you, either way it comes out that dam, there's no me'ilah after the mitzvah has been done. Says the Gemara, and therefore since after the mitzvah has been done there's no me'ilah, we learn that before the mitzvah has been done there's no me'ilah also. That's according to the last opinion. The other two opinions have different psukim, but either way, dam, there's no me'ilah by dam. So now the question becomes, utlasa krai b'dam lamali. What do we need three different opinions, three different psukim? Says the Gemara, what do I need three different psukim to tell me that there's no me'ilah by dam? Lima'ute mi me'ilah, because not just that there's no me'ilah, there's no nosar and there's no tumah, like we mentioned. What's missing? We know there's also no pigul. Ava pigul lo tzarech kra. Ditnan kol sheyesh lo matirim bein l'adam bein l'mizbeach hayavnu la mishum pigul v'dam gufei matirhu. We said, remember, that pigul only applies when there's a matir, when there's something else that comes. So like by the actual basar, there's pigul. If you have intention while you're doing, if you're doing the during the avoda, because the blood is a matir. That means the blood is matir. Once I go ahead and do the blood, now I could put the meat onto the mizbeach to burn it, or I could have or I could eat the meat. But the dam itself is a matir. There's nothing that's matir the dam to be thrown. Yeah, I guess logistically you need to do the Kabbalah first. But the point is that there's nothing that's matir the dam to be thrown. Since it itself is a matir, and we know that pigul only applies to things that have a matir for them, therefore dam will not be in the category of pigul. There's no matir of a matir, right. Okay, new case. How are we doing timing-wise? Amar Rabbi Yochanan, I got to slow down. Shlosha krisos b'shlamim lama. What? V'dam gufei matiru. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Shlosha krisos b'shlamim lama. Rashi quotes, there are three psukim that you get kares for eating a shlamim and seemingly eating any korban while you're tameh. Again, we're going to see that we're also going to discuss what happens if the korban's tameh in your tar. But for now, we're assuming that we're dealing with a case where you're tameh and the korban is tahor. So what do you need three different examples where you're going to get kares for eating something when you're tameh? Achas leklal. One is a klal, because what would happen if you just had one pasuk? You would say you get kares for eating any consecrated item when you're tameh. Va'achat leprat. What's the prat? That has to be specifically like shlamim. What's specifically like shlamim? It's not any consecrated item, only a consecrated item that goes on the mizbeach. Right? So the klal is that any consecrated item. The prat limits the kares to any consecrated item that goes on the mizbeach. Va'achas ledvarim she'eino ne'echalin. And the last pasuk is to tell you that even if you eat, when you are tameh, if you eat a piece of kodesh, eitzim u'levona, which are not edible, if you eat them when you're tameh, you'll still get kares. That's why you need the third pasuk. Rabbi Shimon Amar, which we're going to deal with now. Rabbi Shimon Amar, Devarim she'ein nechalin ein chayavin aleim mishum tuma lasuyei mai. But according to him, you're not chayiv if you're tameh when you eat inedible things that are kodesh. So what's the third pasuk to tell me that you get kares by shlavim for? Lasuyei chatos hapnimios. To tell me that if you eat a chatas pnimios, a chatas whose blood is sprinkled on the inner altar, if you eat that when you're tameh, you're going to get kares. What's the havamina? Salka daita chamina hoel v'amar Rabbi Shimon kol she'eino al mizbeach achitzon kishlamim ein chayavin alav mishum pigul. Since logistically, based on the rule, a chatas pnimios has no pigul because it's brought on the outer mizbeach, so you might think just like it has, since it's brought on the inner mizbeach, since it has no pigul, it has no din of tumah either. You're not going to get kares if you eat it when you're tameh. Says Gemara, Mishum tumah nami lo lechayev. Kamash malan. The third pasuk teaches me that even a chatas pnimios, if you eat it when you're tameh, just like any other korban, will be chayev kares. Let's delve into Rabbi Shimon's opinion a little bit. Rabbi Shimon's the one who says that if you eat, when you are tameh, if you eat an inedible kodesh object, you will not get punished. According to the Rabbanan, you'll get punished even if it's inedible, as long as you are tameh. Says Gemara, Nomi, which sort of seems like said, it's not his name. Nomi Rabbi Shimon mechayev et shedarko lechol. Rabbi Shimon's only mechayev that which is darko lechol, and Rabbanan are mechayev even things that are not usually eaten. Itma Rabbi Yochanan v'Reish Lakish, one side. Rabbi Lazav, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina, other side. Chad mei hayzuza v'chad mei hayzuza. They didn't argue on each other. It's not Rabbi Yochanan, Reish Lakish versus Rabbi Lazav and Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina. Each group argued with each other. That means Rabbi Yochanan argued with Reish Lakish, and Rabbi Lazar argued with Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. Chad amar machlokes betumas basar. It's not actually basar here. It just uses the word basar for the object. But one says that the machlokes between Rabbi Shimon and the Rabbanan is when the item is tamei, the inedible object is tamei. Rabbi Shimon says if you're tar and you eat it, then you're not going to get punished. And Rabbanan will say you'll get punished. But the Rabbanan agree to Rabbi Shimon that if the item is tahor and you're tamei, you will not be punished. According to this, the Rabbanan will only say that you get punished by inedible objects when the inedible object is tamei and you're tahor. That's why you get punished for eating it. Now again, they might have the same machlokes. The Gemara is not going to talk about a regular case of an edible object. It means there might be a same discussion by an edible object, whether it's tumah versus tumas of you versus tumas of the object. Right now, until now, we've been assuming you're the tamei one and the object is tahor. But right now, we're not talking about regular edible objects. It might be the machlokes there as well, but that's not what the Gemara is talking about. The Gemara is talking about inedible objects, and it comes out again that the only one of the 4 cases that the Rabbanan would say that, again, it could be your tamei, or 2 cases, but the Rabbanan, it could be 4 cases. Either you could be tamei or the object could be tamei, so 2 cases. So then, or you could both be tamei, you could both be tahor. So the only case that's going to be an issue, according to the Rabbanan, by an inedible object, is when the inedible object is tamei, and you're tahor, you'll still be chayav. But if you're tamei, and it's tahor, you won't be chayav by an inedible object. Says the Gemara, Divra Kol Loka, that he agrees with Rabbi Shimon. V'chanamar ki machlokes bezu, ka machlokes bezu. And the other opinion is that what? No, it's machlokes across the board, and Rabbanan would say both whether you're tamei or the inedible object is tamei. In either case, you will be chayav. Says the Gemara, my timas. So now we're going to give the reason of the Tanakama, the Rabbanan, and then we'll give the reasons. What's the reason of the Rabbanan that you'd be chayav across the board for eating whether the object, inedible object, is tamei or you're tamei? Kevan de karina be v'habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei. That's when the item is tamei. Therefore, karina be v'tumato alav. Therefore, when the person is tamei, it's going to be a problem as well. And since the inedible object is included in v'habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei, therefore v'tumato alav is included as well. And again, according to the Tanakama, you're going to be chayav whether you or the object, the inedible object, is tamei.
Is this we're talking about a person's trying to eat the inedible object, or just touching the inedible object?
They're eating it. Talking about getting punished for eating the inedible object.
Trying to put some basam or something.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to get malchus if they don't get chorus.
Well, that's the point, is that I think kares would be the equivalent of the malchus when you're warned. It would be malchus seemingly and kares. Right?
Yeah, but if he's not subject to chorus, he still gets the malchus.
No. That's what they're arguing about. Guf direk kol eino loke. It specifically says no malchus. Talking about malchus here. Says the Gemara, Rav Tivyome Masni Hachi, Rav Kahana Matzech. Rav Kahana learned it differently, and he says that it's not Rabbanan agreeing to Rabbi Shimon, but Rabbi Shimon agreeing to the Rabbanan. Chad me'azuz v'chad me'azuz ha'sefa. Chad amar machlokes betumas haguf. They argue by a tumas haguf. That means when the guy is tamei and the object, an edible object, is tahor, that's where Rabbi Shimon says you're still going to be not chayav. Ava betumas basar, when the inedible object itself is basar, is again, it's not necessarily basar, but when the inedible object is tamei, divrei kol loke, then even Rabbi Shimon will agree that you get malchus. So the only case now, the opposite, the only case that Rabbi Shimon will say you don't get malchus is when you are tamei and the inedible object is tahor, you will not get malchus. He says it seems to be that it makes more sense that they're both across the board. Rabbi Shimon will say you're pater whether you're tamei or the object is tamei, and Rabbanan will say you're chayav whether you're tamei or the object is tamei. My time. Well, now what's the reason of Rabbi Shimon why you should be pater across the board? Kevan for inedible food, lo karina be'vetumoto alav v'nichta. He's going the opposite. He was learning from the first to the second part. Now he's learning from the opposite way. Since by inedible objects you won't get kares, lo karina be'v'habasar she'iga b'chol tamei lo yachel. Therefore, you won't be a problem when the basar is tamei either. So again, it comes out that either the basar or you being tamei, if it's inedible, will not be a problem. Says the Gemara, what are you going to do, Rabbi Shimon? It seems like it includes eitzim u'levona, leposla be'alma. Comes out that he agrees, enachanami. All things being equal, better not to go ahead and eat inedible objects, whether you're tamei or it's tamei. But after the fact, if you eat it, he comes along, Rabbi Shimon, and says you're not going to be chayiv malchus either way, and not kares for sure. Comes along Rabbanan and would say you would be chayiv malchus. Says the Mishnah, l'shem shisha dvarim hazevach nizbach. You have to have l'shem yichu kucha brichu shchinte for 6 things every time you bring a korban and you shacht it. You have to have six things in mind for l'shma. L'shem zevach. You have to have the intent to that specific korban. So I'm bringing chatas. L'shem zoveach. Again, you don't always bring it. So the Kohen has to have in mind that I brought it versus anybody else. So what kind of korban it is, who brought it? L'shem Hashem, obviously, not for the other avodah zarah. L'shem Eishim or Ishim, for the fires that you're going to go ahead and you're going to have this consumed by the fire, either all of it or part of it. L'shem Reach, that you're doing it, it'll be a pleasant smell to God. L'shem Nichoach, the whole entire process should be pleasing to God, because it says L'reach Nichoach, it's 2 separate things. And V'achatas V'asham L'shem Chet. If you bring a chatas and asham, you have to have in mind l'shem yichu kucha brichu shchinte that I ate non-kosher. You have to know what chet you're bringing the chatas and asham for.
The Kohen has this.
This is the Kohen having in mind when he shechs for you.
Has the Kohen know what
you're going to tell him.
You have to tell what your chet is.
Yeah, that's why I went into this business so everybody can do all their confessions.
A little window in the.
Amar Rabbi Yossi. No, when you come in, right? When you come in and you press the when you press the iPad, when you come in, it says which chet and has a whole long list. Says the Gemara, and then you say other. Amar Rabbi Yossi, Af misha halo haya belibo l'shem echad. Right? It's select all. Select all.
Please explain.
Please explain, or it's like at the airport. Select all. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yossi, then you don't need to bring a chatas. Amar Rabbi Yossi. It actually must have been interesting when you're there and you're like looking. You know, we like take it for granted when you're there and you're like looking around at all the different korbanos and you're like, oh, that guy's got the bull under 1 year old. He's a bad guy. Oh, this guy's just bringing a toda. This guy, it must have been pretty cool. Okay, Amar Rabbi Yossi. Now we have an idea of who the sinners are, but there you'll know for sure. Amar Rabbi Yossi. Af mishlo haya belibo l'shem echad mikol elu kasher. Very, very interesting. We've had this before. Where did we have this? I don't remember. Anybody remember which Masechta we had this? Anybody who doesn't have in their mind, if you don't have in your heart one of these, it's still kasher. And as Rashi explains, what he's basically saying is that you should not go ahead and say l'shem yichul kucha brichu shchinte, because if you say it with your mouth and you say the wrong thing, you ruin the korban. So Beis made it tonight. You're better off, as many times in life, you're better off not saying anything than saying something wrong.
How does Pigul then work?
Pigul's all machshava.
No, he's Pigul.
What do you mean?
It also says.
Pigul is
We looked at he actually says something, talking.
Oh, you're saying no. So if he says, I'm going to eat it outside of the right time, so then nachanami. But we're saying over here, when you bring the korban, when you shech the korban, the Maisa, you shouldn't say anything. If you say something, so then nachanami, then of course you can make it pigul. But if you don't say anything,
if the rule is don't talk, why is he talking ever?
okay, so a lot of people you tell not to, like tell
the people in shul.
Says the Gemara. So what do? So you're not supposed to talk. You're better off not saying anything, because if you don't say anything and you have the wrong intent, well, we'll see. We'll clarify this in a second. If you have the wrong intent, you won't necessarily ruin it. But if you say the wrong intent, now you're going to ruin it. If you say l'shem yuchel, not even necessarily on purpose, you're going through all this hassle. L'shem yuchel kucha brichu shchinte ola, and it's a chatas, you ruin it. So don't say anything. Amar Rav Yud Amar Rav ola. It needs to be brought l'shem ola. La fuke l'shem shlamim. Again, it's got to be brought for the right korban. Delo. That it's not. So la fuke l'shem shlamim delo. That's not going to work if you bring it l'shem shlamim. As we're saying, if you don't say anything, but let's just talk about, again, basic. You bring it for the wrong thing, you're messed up. Eishim or ishim, l'shem eishim. It has to be for the fire. La fuke kibaba delo. If you just bring it to intend to roast the meat and not to be consumed on the fire, that's not going to work. Reach l'shem reach la fuke varim shet salan vehelan delo. When it says reach, it has to have a good smell. It can't be pre-roasted, because if it's pre-roasted, it won't have a good smell. Should be pleasing for God. Should be for the one who said, and the world came to creation. Now we add something. If you shachted l'shem ola, and again, as we're saying now, that means you said, I'm shachting it l'shem ola, it's pasul. If you say you're shachting it l'shem chulin, it's going to be kasher. So you're bringing a chatas, and you're shachting it l'shem chulin, you're shachting it to eat it. I want to eat it. But you know you're bringing it as a chatas, and you say, I'm shachting it to eat it, it counts as a chatas. Amr Balazar, my time at Derav. Why is it specifically when you shacht it for eating it, it's not going to ruin it, but if you shacht it for another thing, For Ola, it's going to be a problem. V'lo yechalalu et kachei b'nei Yisrael. Kachim mechal and kachim ve'in chulin mechal and kachim. Only kachim ruin other kachim, and chulin doesn't ruin kachim. Masiv Rabbah. So Rabbah asks a kash on this. Amar Rabbi Yossi from our Mishnah. Af misha lo haya belibo l'shem echad mikol elu kasher she'utanai beis. And if you don't say anything, it's going to be kasher. Taima shelo haya belibo klal. But he makes a diuk, and he wants to learn if you have nothing intent. If you have no intent, that means the best thing is to have the right intent. Let's assume you're not talking at all. But now he's saying in your lave, if you have the wrong intent in your lave, maybe a problem. We thought it's not a problem as long as it's in your lave. He's clarifying and saying, Taima shelo haya belibo klal. It sounds like if you're just walking around and not thinking about anything, you're not a thinking person, so you're fine. Habat hahaya belibo l'shem chulin paso. But that implies that if in your heart it's l'shem chulin for the wrong thing, and for sure l'shem kachim, it's going to be a problem. But you just told me that l'shem chulin is going to be okay. So we're clarifying that Rav is definitely not saying, based on this, Rav is definitely not saying that you're saying it with your mouth. You say it with your mouth, l'shem chulin for sure, no good. But now even in your heart, l'shem chulin might be a problem. No, here's how we answer it. Lo haya klal kasher u'miratzeh. If you don't have anything intent, so again, you're bringing a chatas to the Beis HaMikdash. You have intent that the chatas should be an ola, even in your heart, doesn't work. You have intent that it should be l'shem chatas, or that it should be stam. You have no intent in your heart, you just don't think about anything. So then, it's going to be kasher u'miratzeh. Hahayab libo l'shem chulin. If you have in your heart, you don't say anything, but you have in your heart that the chatas should be just to eat, l'shem chulin, then kasher ve'eno miratzeh. Then it's kasher, you can eat it afterwards, but it doesn't work as a chatas. So again, it comes out that if you have a chatas, if you say anything, no matter what, you ruin it. If you have no intention, this is the case where like having in your heart the right thing is the best thing. If you have no intention, this is a case where it's better not to think than to think the wrong thing. So you don't think at all, you're okay. As long as what? As long as you don't think at all. If you think that it should be l'shem chulin, then it's going to work that you could eat it, but it doesn't work for a chatas. And he doesn't say what it should be, but I would venture to say that if you think that it should be l'shem kachim, then maybe one would argue that it's not even miratzeh at all, that it's not even going to be kosher at all. But he doesn't say that. It could be that kachim would be the same thing as chulin in this case, but it doesn't sound like it. It sounds like based on the way that he's understanding is that if you have no intention at all, it works. If you have the right intention, it works. If you have no intention at all, it works as a chatas. If you have the intention that the chatas should be chulin, it'll still, again, you won't get the miratzeh. You have to bring another chatas, but the animal won't get ruined. And it sounds like if you have intention that it should be an ola, not only will you not get the credit for the chatas, you won't be able to even eat any part of it. That's how it seems to come out.
With Piggle had the same problem with talking and thinking?
So I don't remember. So again, I don't remember seeing that daf, but they're saying that the Gemara says that it's specifically by talking and not with the liba, but I don't remember a conversation like that. Okay, definitely don't remember that. Amar Rabbi Lazar, chatat sheshachta l'shem chulin kshera mishum chulin psula. So again, Rabbi Lazar not clear if this will go into the, seemingly this is still in the heart. Chatat sheshachta l'shem chulin kshera. When we're talking about l'shem chulin still working, and again, seemingly l'shem chulin kshera, meaning based on the way we're describing, it won't count as a chatas, but it'll be l'shem chulin kshera, will mean that it's not going to be pasul, it'll be kosher ve'eno miratzeh. But if you do it mishum chulin psulin, that means if I bring a chatas, and I have in mind that it should count as a chulin, that it should count to be eaten, then it's going to be kosher to eat, but it's not going to be miratzeh, I still owe a chatas. But if it's mishum chulin, if the entire time that I bring it, I actually think I'm bringing something to eat, I totally forget that I'm bringing. Again, it's one thing to have the wrong intent, as opposed to saying I'm bringing a mamish to shech to eat. If I bring it thinking that I'm shechting it to eat, and then I find out that it was really my chatas that I took, then it's not going to count, obviously, and it's not going to be kosher to eat either. Kedebar minei Shmuel me Rav Huna, minayin lemisasek bekachim shel pasol. How do you know that when you're dealing with kachim, abi misaskik, as Rashi says, you're not paying attention, that you're even doing an act of shchita, you're not thinking about anything? How do you know that's not going to work? Shenemar v'shachara ben abakar lifnei Hashem, ad shetehei shchita l'shem ben bakar. You have to at least shecht it, knowing what you're doing. Amarle Zubi Yodeinu, we know that you have to have lichat chila. How do you know that b'diavad, if you don't have any clue what you're doing, you don't even realize that you're shachting it? La'akei minayin, Amarle lirtzonchem tizbachuhu, lidatchem zavichu. You should go ahead and you have to have full awareness that you're actually doing the shchita, or else you're going to ruin it. Okay.
Announce it when they brought in